Now, before we get underway, there's just one thing I've been dying to do all year.
Oh no. Oh no.
Watch out, we're coming. We just wait for September to win. All right. Let's get underway. I'll just mute everyone.
Happy.
All right. No worries. Now, some milestone, or only one milestone this week. Peter McMullen on the boundary, 500th game. It's a big one. So if you see Pete, say congratulations to him. It's a mighty effort. I'm going to give a bit of a spiel, which I tend to give it every year, but I know from experience that this can be a tough time of year. If you're an umpire, but also I guess if you're a player and a coach, emotions run high when you're aiming to get something and it perhaps might not go the way you want it to. So I guess the best advice I always got given is you can choose how you react to disappointments, and if that's standing in loser's corner and whinging and complaining, then that's a choice that you can make, or you can go and go back and put your mind to it and come back next year better and more determined. So if that happens to you this year and you're disappointed with what you got, have a think about how you might react to it, because in the long run, it's certainly beneficial if you take the responsible approach rather than the emotional response. And this year has obviously been quite a bit different. Normal coaching structure's not there, so I'm pretty much making a lot of decisions on the run. Not going to get them all right, and so I'm trying to reward those that have committed themselves to be fit. And obviously, if you've umpired in higher grades regularly, you'll have preference over those umpiring in lower grades. And first-year umpires will be unlikely to participate in finals because the majority of the first-year umpires are still learning and developing. So nothing against you, but we don't want to put you under the pressure of a final at this point in time quite often. So we have some grand finals on this weekend. So I just want to congratulate the group that's going out this Saturday to umpire the women's grand finals. Exciting day for all the players, but obviously for the umpires as well. So in Division 5, Simon Farrell and Justin House, that's at Norwood Oval, 11:20. Division 4, I'll just announce the field umpires, but with the coaching notes, I'll send out the boundaries and goals as well. Division 4, Mitchell Flinders Park at St Mary's at 11:20. Luke Harrington and Michael Jolly. Division 3, Flinders Uni versus Blackfriars at St Mary's at 1:10. Jack Moore and Liam Binning. Division 2, Happy Valley versus Broadview, Matthew Brown and Dave Alwood. That's 3 o'clock at St Mary's. In the Division 1 reserves, which will be at 1:10 at Norwood Oval, Smosh West Lakes versus Moorfield Park. A couple of our older umpires that this year went out and really worked hard to get into shape. They lost a lot of weight. I think they spurred each other on. They're good mates and they'll enjoy umpiring together. So Brian Humble and Rob Midland are umpiring that one. And in the Division 1 women's game between Smosh West Lakes and Payneham Norwood Union at Norwood Oval at 3 o'clock, Michael Williamson and Paul Smith. So well done to all you guys. Go out and enjoy the day and obviously give your all for what's a big day for all concerned. This year, a bit of a change from what's happened the last couple of years. If you do get a grand final, we won't have the names on the gate as we've done. They want to hand out tickets, which makes a bit of a pain in the neck administration-wise, but that's the way they want to do it. So I'll email out to all the umpires concerned when they're ready to be picked up. We'll have it at the counter at Thebby Oval this week. They'll probably be available late Wednesday afternoon onwards, but yeah, I'll just keep an eye out for you on your email for that. I just want to touch on the end of a game because we had an interesting scenario on the weekend. It's always been my thought is when the game ends, we want to get off the ground as quickly as possible. That's not running off, but not loitering and looking around for people to come up and shake your hand. I mean, you will get players occasionally do that, but we shouldn't be hanging around looking for it. I'm not comfortable with umpires standing out there and congratulating themselves either, because sometimes the crowd or players or coaches might not be thinking you've done as good a job as you think perhaps you have. So just wait till you get off the field to do that. And I think it's mindful of it's good to be mindful of people's emotions. So if you're having any agitated players, coaches, or officials approach you as you walk off, don't engage in conversation. Don't make any gestures. Don't smile, smirk. Keep your head up. You want to be confident. You don't want to be looking down at the ground. But just walk off professionally. So what happened on the weekend? There was a game decided after the siren, and some heated officials from the club ran out and approached the umpires, which caused spectators and players to come in. It was quite ugly and nasty situation. And one of the umpires handled themselves really well. The other one didn't do too much wrong, but enough for me to get grumpy. Just hung around a little bit too long, engaging in conversation, and then and made a bit of a gesture as they were walking into the change rooms. As a result, that umpire, who's a really good umpire, but he's going to have to learn a lesson, so he won't be umpiring again this year. Probably would have got a grand final if he hadn't made his small mistake, but it's a lesson he needs to learn. And I guess we can all learn from that. So if you're in a similar situation, just remember the heat will go on the club and the officials and the players, as it has in this case. So the league has dealt with it very well. But if there's any suggestion the umpires haven't taken the high road and started to do some things which can agitate the situation, then the heat comes back at us. So it's really important that we do the right thing in those scenarios. And as I said, get off the ground as quickly as you can and be as professional as you can about it. All right, so that's all I've got from my notes before we get on the coaching videos. Any questions, comments anyone wants to make before we move on? Normally there's someone that wants to bring up something.
Just one thing, Kyle.
Hang on, Barry, you're still muted, mate.
Unmute.
Yeah, go for it now.
Now?
Yeah, can hear.
Okay. I always thought in finals, the team that finished highest had the call for the coin.
I think there's some rule about that. Yeah, I'm not too fussed, to be honest. I think that's probably technically the case.
Yeah. Just that everybody I've umpired with didn't know that. So.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
I think there's been some rule about that through the ages. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will now mute myself.
Very good, Barry. Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I think that has been the rule over the years.
Cole.
Yeah, mate.
How much power or control do you have over a goal umpire giving a point or a goal? Because there was a controversial touch on the line in that Goodwood game on the weekend, which I double-checked with him 2 or 3 times, and the Goodwood players were adamant that it was a point, but the Payneham goal umpire gave it a goal. So I'm just sort of querying that sort of side of it.
So if you've got a club-appointed umpire,
yep,
and you're reasonably confident that he's got it wrong, just go and overrule. I wouldn't be communicating. Just go and say, "No, mate, you got that wrong."
It looked like he touched it behind, like for a point, but he just sort of stood there, looked at it, and gave it a goal. So I checked with him 3 times.
So club-appointed umpires, you can be a bit more assertive with. With league-appointed umpires, you can ask the question, and if they're adamant, and you just back them in. For the league-appointed umpires, but you'd be a little bit more assertive with club-appointed umpires. But our league-appointed goal umpires do get it wrong, of course. And if you're confident that they've made a mistake, then you can point that out to them.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Usually they're pretty good to take your advice on board. Anyone else? All right, let's get on to the coaching video. And the what's your decision examples tonight are fairly easy to get, I would have thought. And Benny Williams, seeing as you're on the screen for the first time, you can take the first one, mate. All right, want to unmute yourself and look, I think most of these are pretty self-explanatory decisions. What I'm interested in is people explaining how they came to those decisions.
Yeah, so the Crows player has taken possession of it and he's had a clear prior opportunity to get rid of the ball. And he hasn't done so. He's been tackled legally and the ball's spilled free, so it's holding the ball.
Yeah, perfect description. The only problem I have is that as a Crows player, we should find a way to give him a free kick.
might have been a little handball, actually.
No, your explanation was spot on, mate. All right, example number 2. All right. Dave Palmer.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, mate.
Okay, what I saw, Zane Kirkwood getting about to take the kick, about to go for the kick, gets tackled from behind. The ball did not connect to Kirkwood's foot. It's therefore holding the ball, a good tackle and a free for the opposite.
Was there a prior opportunity?
Yes, there was.
Correct. So that's what we look for. Prior opportunity, legal tackle. Does he handball or kick? No. Hold the ball. Thanks, Dave. Paul Ventura, you're up next.
Yeah, so that's yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was the Eagles player pushed the Sturt player in the back in the marking contest. Therefore, pushed him out of the marking contest, and I'll give a free kick to the Sturt player for marking infringement. Yep,
yeah, spot on. So marking infringements can be tough ones to judge. That one's a fairly simple one, but I guess, does he hold his ground or does he push first and then go for the mark? And in this case,
2 actions with the arm there.
Yep. 2 actions, which means a free kick. The player is certainly put out of the contest there. So, yep, that's right. Okay, Payne, you can sit up, mate, and take the next one. You look a bit too relaxed there, so get you on your toes. So unmute and tell us what you thought of this one. All right, far away, mate.
Yeah, it was pretty laggy for me, but it looks like he had a prior. He got tackled, didn't dispose of it, holding the ball.
Yeah, like I said, there's a pretty simple ones tonight. Similar answers so far. Clear holding the balls, and that's another one of them. All right, Marty Dawn.
Okay, Cole, holding the ball, incorrect disposal.
Do you want to perhaps go back a step? Was there a prior opportunity?
Yes, there was.
Was he legally tackled?
Give us a look at the video again.
No. Just say, yes, he was legally tackled. And did he handball or kick?
I reckon it was an incorrect disposal, yeah.
Yeah. So with this one, it's because he has had a prior opportunity, and when he's legally tackled, he doesn't handball or kick is the reason why we give it holding the ball. Incorrect disposal sort of comes into the language when he hasn't had a prior opportunity and he just drops it. You can argue he just drops it here, but there's been a prior opportunity before that. So at the end of the day, we all would have paid a free kick, no doubt. All right, let's move on to the rest. So talking about set kick control, a key to good umpiring, attention to details, some good learnings from some of these examples. So with this one here, Corey Bowen as the umpire backs out, so you want to back out quickly, so you get some distance between yourself and the ball, and then you get the the angle on a free kick like that, where there was some holding. The player was being held as he tried to contest the ball. So good positioning, allowing him to get the distance to be able to see the peripheral vision and get the right free kick. Let them know what you want, so use your voice. Not just blow your whistle, use your voice. They may use the whistle here, but we want to use our voice under all circumstances. So he does use his whistle there, but good umpires here will sprint down to make an effort to bring the player on the mark back. So obviously the rule is these days, player on the mark in this instance is the top of the kickoff square. And you can be lazy and stand back and yell or whistle and speak to the player 30 or 40 metres away. Or if you want him to be a higher level umpire, you can make the effort to run down and bring the player back. So the umpire does that there, makes the effort to get down, and then runs to the next act when it's kicked. So yeah, key is to get down to bring him back. So where is the footy? There's a free kick there, and being aware where the football is allows the advantage to be paid. It's fairly easy to miss that advantage if you transfix on the player on the mark. But if you can pick up those advantage plays, that's a good sign of a good umpire. All right. So in this case, it is black and white. The player has to receive the ball on the full. Otherwise, it's 25 metres. If they throw the ball back to you or a teammate, or in this case, not straight to the player, black and white, 25 metre penalty. So you need to have an awareness of where the ball is the whole time. So mark was paid there, and that's why you don't pay the advantage. So you can pay advantage from a free kick, but not pay advantage from a mark. So really good quick play on call. Saw the player take a step forward, change his mind, but the quick play on call, umpire was alert to that. This is an interesting one. Sam, I'll get you to give us your thoughts on this, mate. Don't see this one too often, but we've got to be really sure about what we do in this example.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening there, so I thought it was going to happen before, but it looks like you want me to comment on the fact that he came.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue potentially there was a free kick or two before that, but I'm comfortable with it being play on. There's nothing too obvious and blatant there. But yeah, just talk about the last bit.
Yeah, so he's run around that that goal post, and so he's gone between the goals and he's come out the other end where it's a goal and a point. So I think in the SANFL, it's obviously a point because the umpire must have called play on, which is the correct decision. But we don't do that in Amateur League. We reset.
Correct. So at AFL or SANFL level, when they play the other side of the goalpost, and in that example, it's a point. But yeah, we just get the player back, bring it back through the area they should have come through. So for those that weren't aware of that, there's one you can take away and be aware of the difference between what we do and what you see on TV.
Hey, Colin, just on that one.
Yep.
Because we're not paying a point, so we're definitely taking it back and stopping the game and setting up the mark properly, as opposed to just letting it go, because it really doesn't have an effect on the game, in my opinion. But
I hear what you say, Rob, but yeah, the rule is he has to bring it back through those goals. And yeah, we just reset. If you can see him heading that way, you obviously want to yell out and tell him to direct him back to where he should be. But yeah, I take your point. But yeah, we just reset the one. It is a penalty to bring him back. He hasn't done the right thing. It stopped him playing on quickly. All right, what do you think of that, Rob?
Hold up, I'll have to play it on my computer because it's laggy. So a bit of holding man there. So he's paid a free kick for Sturt. Oh no, he's paid it Norwood. All right.
No, so I'll play it again for you. No, actually, I should be. There's a couple of Robs. I was actually talking about Rob Midland, but that's all right. We'll get Rob Kane to do this one. Rob Midland to do the next one.
Righto, so it's just controlling the mark. So he's come in, brought him back to the mark, let him take his kick, blue time back on. So don't overreact.
Yeah, he's right there, got a presence. Yeah. Both players were somewhat holding each other. You don't want to be reversing that one. That'd be an overreaction. And so, yeah, good presence. Got it cleaned up because he was right there and he was telling the players what he wanted to have happen. So good umpiring from one of the best umpires in the sample. Watch out for him, Tom Bryce. He'll be a very good AFL umpire for years to come. Okay, Rob Midland. This, be interested to say hear what you say about this. All right, what do you reckon, Rob?
The mark was paid to the West Adelaide player, and the Crows player came in fairly close into the protected zone, so therefore 25 metres. And which, if he elected to play on it at the moment, the West Adelaide player, and came out off of his arc, the Crows player would have impacted play.
Yeah, but did he impact on play?
Only because he hadn't played on, but from what I see, he looks as though he's within about 1.5 to 2 metres, so it's pretty close to the action. It didn't actually impact the play, but it had the potential to, and he was running parallel to him. He wasn't even moving out on an angle.
He didn't follow the player on the other side. That's why he got caught where he was. I'm actually not too fussed about this one not being paid at our level. At SANFL and AFL level, they would be quite hot on that because the players are trained up to make sure that they don't do what he did there. The only time I really see that as being needed with our footy is if he does impact on play. So the player goes to play on and he's right there. And he's not loitering. He does move to go to the mark and it's somewhat technical. So again, I'm not fussed about that one not being paid. But in the moment he really impacts on play, we need to penalise it then. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, they obviously pay quite a few of those, especially at AFL level, and they're really hot on it. I don't want us to get that technical about it. But if he does impact on play, then certainly pay the free kick then. And another spelling mistake here, but never mind. Don't switch off at set kick. Be assertive and let them know what you want. So it is all about communication, using your voice, being specific about what you want the player to do. All right, so that's that video. Any questions, comments? Anything more from the weekend that anyone wants to bring up before we go on? Obviously, we're at the critical stage of the year. Not only for the women's grand finals this week, but there's a lot of elimination finals being played in the men. A lot of grand final bursts up for grabs. And it all started out very nice this year where players were just happy to get out and play, but now there's something really at the end of it. They're starting to get a bit more serious. So it's really important we're at the top of our game. Go out there and run hard. Give it your all. And we're not far away from winding up. So you won't have too many more opportunities to umpire if you do get appointed this week. And there will be umpires that the season is finished now. And it's just because there's less games, obviously. So once again, well done. We are having a good season. Important we finish off in the right note. All right, guys.
Take that head off.
I'm wearing it while I can. Not confident about tomorrow night. So just enjoying the next 24 hours. All right, guys.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Thanks,